When you've been sitting on a tablet for a big majority of your life and everything just can get delivered to you, brought to you,
Sure.
right? What is your motivation for getting up and initiating a task?
We have some of the best engineers in the world designing these products that are designed to reel us in and keep us coming back for more, and they affect us in real ways.
And I've heard that from more than a few kids of like, I don't want to drive, I don't want to date, I don't want to be around anybody. I just want to be alone with my screen. We've got the world advertising and trying to monetize teen attention. They don't have a lot of impulse control, emotion regulation. They want to fit in. It's a really unethical market. I'm hearing families realize how disconnected they are and want to try to figure out how to reconnect.
Smartphones, dopamine, and middle school drama. Today's guest can help you decode it all. Dr. Crystal Collier is basically the Beyonce, I tried to get a hometown reference, the Beyonce of brain-based parenting. And we're so glad she's here today. I'm Joshua with Parent ProTech. Welcome back to the Tech Translator. This is the podcast where we break down the digital world so families, educators, and communities can navigate it with confidence. If you've been around Parent ProTech for a while, you'll know that I'm sitting down with the Parent ProTech Hall of Famer. We have been fans of her work and recommending her work, her book, the NeuroWhereAbouts Guide, for over a couple years now. But today's guest, someone who doesn't just understand the adolescent brain, she translates it into language that actually makes sense for parents, for educators, and anyone raising kids in the digital world today. Dr. Crystal Collier is a psychotherapist, a researcher, educator, and the author of the NeuroWhereAbouts Guide, a resource that has become foundational to so many families, even clinicians, schools across the country. She also just released the guide as a series for kids. Yes. One for K through 2, one for 3 through 5, and more coming, I hear.
The next one, it'll be grades 6 through 12.
I love it.
Yes.
Your work blends neuroscience, prevention science, and practical strategies that equip families to build healthier habits and lifelong resilience in their kids. She's also the creator of knowyourneuro.org, an interactive tool full of videos and guides that help caregivers support kids who may be struggling with executive functioning, impulse control, you talk about digital addiction, or high-risk behaviors, just to name a few. Whether you're a parent trying to figure out when to give your child a smartphone, or you're navigating the fallout from too much screen time, I know this conversation will be packed with insight, science, and just real-world practical tools that you can implement in your life. So, Dr. Collier, welcome back to the Tech Translator podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be back. So
well,
honored.
It goes both ways. I have to say, I know I told you before, but there's one clip of you talking about the gap between EQ and IQ in brain development that I have used tens and tens, probably hundreds of times over the past year and shared with families. So we're all the time talking about your work, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, I love how practical you make it. It's accessible, it is tangible. It's sometimes really hard for parents and all of us just to connect with some of these brain concepts.
Yes.
But you make it so accessible. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I want to begin with what I think sets you apart. The longer I've known you and heard your story, I know that a lot of the origin story for you in this line of work began from a personal place. So could you just briefly give an intro of your why?
I was a kid who engaged in a lot of risky behavior, but I was also a very anxious, rule-following, good kid.
Yeah.
And so when my family had some dysfunction, there was a divorce, and we moved, and when I started to try to figure out where I fit in, my family was in disarray, and I was like smack dab going into middle school, and it's such a fragile time for kids. I always say if you graph how much peers are important and how many you want in your life over somebody's lifetime, you'll see this. And the spike is middle school. Later on...
Family's less important, peers are most important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be that way. We're growing and building our identity because we have to leave home and break away and figure out who we are. And then as we grow older, we appreciate quality over quantity, and
Yeah.
But for me, my foundation was cracked, and so when somebody said, "Hey, I'll introduce you to lots of friends. Let's go to this party,"
Yeah.
that's all it took. And I was very influenced by what I saw around me. And there were adults engaging in risky behavior. An adult gave me a beer at a party.
Yeah.
And, I just was unsupervised. And I remember thinking, ooh, my mom hasn't said anything to me about this. I don't think I'm supposed to drink it, but...
Yeah.
And so here I was right at the beginning of my gap. My IQ was pretty high, good grades, smart kid, but my EQ, my executive functioning skills, my maturity level really underdeveloped because it's supposed to be at that age.
Yeah.
So I felt grown in, a 12-year-old body and engaged in lots of risky behavior. And by the time I was 18, I had an intravenous substance use problem. Weirdly, I graduated from high school a year early, was already 3 semesters into college when I had an overdose. And I was very lucky to survive it and picked up the phone and called my mom, who helped me get into rehab.
Wow.
So I've been sober since February 3rd, 1989. And when I got,
Incredible.
Thank you. When I got into recovery, the pink cloud burst pretty quickly. I thought I was so happy to be alive and functioning. But then life, I was like, oh my God, how could I have done that to my body, to my mother, to my grades, to my career? So I started studying everything I could about the brain and addiction. And so that led to the discovery of all these fMRI studies that were being published at that time.
Now, can you tell me fMRI? Tell me what that
Sure.
stands for.
Functional Magnetic Resonance Imaging Study.
Okay.
So
this is like brain
Exactly,
imaging.
right? So a functional MRI shows you pictures of the brain while it's functioning, right? So we can kind of see what's going on in there. And some of those early studies showed brain development over time and how the frontal lobe downregulates, shutting off when kids are engaged, or adults really, adults are engaging in substance use. They were obviously all adult studies back then, but it was really neat. So I go on to get my bachelor's, my master's, went and got a PhD after practicing for about 11 years, but kept collecting all of these brain studies.
Yeah.
And then not just alcohol and drugs were being published, right? Published MRI studies about sugar, technology, anxiety, depression, and they all looked the same.
Wow.
The limbic system lit up either because of pleasure or fear, right? And the frontal lobe downregulated. And I thought, okay, this is really not fair, because here we've got the world advertising and trying to monetize teen attention, teen influence, right? All the social media ads that we see today that are targeting young people who are in the gap.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of impulse control, emotion regulation. They want to fit in. It's a really unethical market to be hitting, I think. Right?
Yeah.
And plus, if they're using and engaging in those things, what they do have in their frontal lobe is downregulated.
Yeah. So they're already not fully developed.
Yes.
And then you add the high-risk behavior on top.
Yes.
And they're more downregulated.
Downregulated, yes.
Yeah.
So because it actually, like, your frontal lobe doesn't shut off.
Yeah.
But I use that term because if you look at it, it looks like it's off. It's just the electrical activity is moved into the limbic system.
I see. And the limbic system, just to give an intro, that's I know we hear dopamine, we hear all these different neurotransmitters. Can you briefly give context?
So I like to keep it very simple, right? The limbic system is our fight or flight, pleasure-seeking part of our brain that is located deep inside the brain. It's made up of teeny tiny little organelles connected to our brainstem. And of course, the fatty lobes are protecting the limbic system. Makes sense, since that's our protective fight or flight part of the brain. But it's connected to our frontal lobe. So, for instance, when a baby gets love and attention from mom,
Yeah.
and food and warmth and, being cleaned, all of those things, that limbic system increases things like dopamine and other neurotransmitters to signal, ooh, this woman, good for our survival. And then through a reward pathway, it sends a signal up to the frontal lobe that says, ooh, you should attach to her.
Yeah.
Right? She's really good for our survival. And so then that message comes back to the limbic system, and that gets encoded into our memory. So whenever we see, smell, think about mom, we get a little increase of dopamine because of that reward pathway. It's the same exact pathway that drugs of abuse or addictive behaviors hijack.
Sure.
Which explains why we get attached to those things. So a parent said to me the other day, my 4-year-old, I would give him a tablet, but he screams and throws a temper tantrum when I take it away. And I wish he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, this is a 4-year-old has 0.5% prefrontal cortex, right?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot of impulse control, but yet that reward pathway has already connected for that tablet. Because, right, those supernormal stimuli that's coming through on software that has been designed to hold that 4-year-old's attention, right, is already hijacking that reward pathway. And what that parent doesn't realize is that child is already becoming addicted to the supernormal stimuli that come from that equipment.
At 4.
At 4.
Yeah. Wow. I believe it.
Yes.
I'm a lot older than 4. I'm 27. And I see even the way it impacts me and us. So we share a lot of videos. And when we think about social media specifically and how these platforms were designed and how they prey on some of these, I feel like, vulnerable parts of our humanity, I know when I have had a video that gets a lot of engagement, and there is, it truly is a dopamine rush to just refresh that notifications feed and see more likes, comments. Oh, it feels good.
It does.
And I should at least have a fully developed frontal lobe. I mean, I hope I do.
At 27.
I'm there.
You're there.
But you think about so many of the teens, and we look at numbers like teens spending 8.5 hours a day on a screen.
Yes.
For entertainment, just for entertainment. A lot of that is on these platforms. And I love when you talk about the gap, you have this framing where you say it's like kids in this time frame or time period, developmental period, are living with a fully developed accelerator and a partially developed brain.
Yes, yes.
And that's it. Let's turn the page. Okay, this is the challenge. You talk a lot about brain-based parenting as the solution. And for a lot of parents who might have never heard of brain-based parenting, they're saying, what does this even mean? I know there's so many experts sharing these different things, but brain-based parenting, I find it very practical, very straightforward. What is brain-based parenting?
Great question. And so that quote about the accelerator in the brain came from Dr. Lawrence Steinberg.
Oh.
So he did a lot of research, wrote a lot of books, great on adolescent development. He was a pioneer in the legal system making decisions about should we hold kids accountable for adult crimes when their frontal lobe is not even an adult frontal lobe yet. And so when I learned, especially Guide and Gautier, there's a very specific study that they did with the development. They had kids come in and did functional MRIs. That picture, I actually asked them for permission to use it in my book. So it's all over my book, where the frontal lobe is growing and developing. Yeah. So when I saw that and read Steinberg and all of the other developmental science out there, I thought, parents have to know this. And so I nicknamed it the NeuroWhereAbouts, where not only where is your child out in the world, but where is their brain developing? What can it do and what can't it do? And do I have any say in that? And the brain's rule, use it or lose it. So I really wanted all the kids, all the parents to understand that all of those executive functioning skills grow based upon that rule. So that means parents have a lot of say in how that child's brain develops. Now, of course, anecdotally, we know that. We know that we raise children, we shape children. But when we boil it down to, actually, I can have a say in what neuronal networks develop in my child's brain, depending upon how much I ask them to use that, how much I praise it. That's the idea of brain-based parenting, is literally focusing on, okay, I want to shape that kiddo's brain and all of those skills that they're going to need out in the world.
Yeah. So let's talk about these skills.
Okay.
You talk a lot about executive functioning skills. Is that kind of the bucket that all of these fall under?
Yes. And these are the basic thinking, feeling, and doing skills.
So can we walk through a few examples?
Sure.
I mean, I have some here, but I know you have thinking skills, coping skills, impulse control. I mean, where should we begin? What about communication skills?
Well, so communication skills, that is a umbrella term for listening, reading cues, understanding language.
Okay.
But what we're talking about are executive functioning skills, which are the basic skills that allow you to communicate.
Okay.
For instance, you need to pay attention. So attentional skills, how well you can pay attention to somebody while they're talking. Because like right now, you're doing such a great job.
Thank you.
You're tracking where I'm going, what I'm saying. If I get off on a tangent, you can help me stay and bring me back to that. That's you paying really good attention. But we also need working memory. So the ability to hold different bits of pieces in our working memory, which you're doing right now. You're thinking of all the other things that you want to ask me, the points that you want to make sure this video makes. All of those you are juggling in your working memory. Another executive functioning skill. Here's another one that I hear a lot from parents that they want to manipulate, but sometimes they do it too late. And that is task initiation.
Task initiation.
Task initiation. Okay, I know that sounds technical, but if
I'm
we
thinking
really
about chores.
There we go. Exactly. Task initiation is doing something on your own without having to be asked or reminded. Like literally, it is motivation.
Motivation. Yeah.
And so I am not always motivated to do things I don't want to do.
Sure.
But I'm still motivated to do them because I have to do them.
Fair.
Right? So I need to initiate that task. I need to gather the motivation to do that.
Yeah.
That is an executive functioning skill that I see so many kids struggle with today. Right? When you've been sitting on a tablet for a big majority of your life and everything just can get delivered to you, brought to you, right? What is your motivation for getting up and initiating a task? That's going down. And a lot of times I hear parents say, well, what can I do to motivate them? But they're already in college. Task initiation really grows from birth to 12. We continue to grow it, but if it's not there by 12, we're going to struggle. That means we have a shorter network in our brain for that skill. And if we continue to have things delivered and have people do things for us, we don't develop that task initiation to go do it unless it's really dopamine spiking.
Yeah. So what should a parent be doing? Now I know on Know Your Neuro you have full videos diving into this exactly, but let's look at task initiation specifically.
Okay.
What if I'm a parent? What does brain-based parenting look like from up until the age of 12, from birth to 12? What am I doing along the way?
Chores. Number one predictor of healthy self-worth and self-esteem. Chores. And here's what's interesting is kids love to feel like they have a purpose. They're okay doing hard things.
Yeah.
So the mantra as a parent should be, if they can, they should.
I was going to say it if you didn't. I love that. I've heard you say that. I love that.
Right?
If they can, they should. If they can do laundry.
They should do laundry. And I probably had that story because years ago, I argued with this parent who was like, no, my job is to do his laundry. I said, no, your job is to teach him how to do his laundry. And she's like, well, what would I do? And I said, anything you want.
Other things.
Other things, because then you will know that your son is fully self-supporting and can do their laundry anywhere, no matter whether you're there or not.
Yeah.
And it robs them of self-efficacy, which is that feeling that you can do things, even if they're hard. That builds self-esteem.
Sure.
So a lot of times people want to build self-esteem thinking it comes from something else, but it doesn't. Self-esteem is literally just an emotion. It's an emotional state, right? Whether you feel good about yourself or bad about yourself, that can change in a given day, depending upon what's going on, right?
It does, all the time, right?
It does, right? Yes, especially with when your likes are not, you're like, what? Well, but with a 27-year-old brain, you have another executive functioning skill. You have abstract reasoning, which really starts coming online between birth and 25.
Yeah.
Which gives you the ability to think hypothetically instead of concretely. So when kids think very concretely, a like is self-esteem.
But it's a 1-to-1 ratio.
Exactly, right? So if you don't get them, you will tear down a post that you just put up and try for something else, thinking that is how you build your identity and feel good. But you know that when you see a video that doesn't get a lot, you go through a lot of different hypothetical what ifs.
Yeah.
And it's not personal, right? It's not about you as a human and your value and worth.
Yeah.
But until you have those skills, it's very hard to discern that. And sorry to point fingers, but I think a lot of tech companies know that.
Oh, yeah.
They know it.
We've heard the whistleblowers from Frances Haugen to others more recently. They've highlighted this. Like, this is no secret. We have some of the best engineers in the world designing these products that are designed to reel us in and keep us coming back for more, and they affect us in real ways. Very much. Especially kids and teens. So that's really good. If they can, they should. See, I love how practical you make it. It's like we just went from neuronal pathways to a simple one-liner that I can hang on to, and exactly. I love it. Yes, I love it. Yes. Let's talk about, I've heard you talk about the value of a family code. At a higher level, you're very intentional encouraging families to have key principles and kind of these guidelines that they can follow. What does that look like?
When I was researching the NeuroWhereAbouts guide, I kept coming across these articles that said, if you talk to your kids about this, if you talk to your kids often, if you talk to your kids consistently, it reduces high-risk behavior.
If you talk.
If you just talk about it. If you just have the conversation. And then I saw the Family Dinner Project research, which said that the more family meals families have together, the more unity kids feel in their family, the less high-risk behavior they engage in. And is that the unity? Is that the parent has developed a relationship? Is it that you're getting a lot of dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin from eye contact, face-to-face communication?
Yeah.
But what a lot of that research says as well is that we talk more to our kids talk more to us when we're eating together, which is why cell phones should never be at the table.
That's good.
But then, so I thought, okay, I want to build this into a ritual. If we have one more meal together during the week, we're going to see an incremental decrease in high-risk behavior. So if we can try to make our goal to eat together 5 times a week, right? Minimum 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a big family sit-down Sunday meal, right? Just even in the car, Chick-fil-A on the way to soccer.
We're together,
but you're
present,
together,
and we're disconnected.
Disconnected, but connected to each other.
Yeah.
So
disconnected from tech.
From tech, exactly, right, yes. So I wanted families to sit down together and build a code that would be simple, because we have to make everything simple.
Yeah.
And it would just be a few sentences about what parents expected their family to abide by, so some values, and how to keep their brains safe.
Yeah.
So let's make it really simple. So I created a code for my family. In my family, we treat others with kindness, compassion, and respect on and offline.
I love it.
And we don't engage in high-risk behavior to protect our brain. So we never use drugs and only alcohol when we're 21. And in my case, none at all because I'm in recovery. So I put that in the book and then this easy 3-step activity to do.
Yeah.
And what we've been able to do is go around. I've done this all over the country now.
Yeah.
In churches, community centers, schools.
You're truly everywhere. Truly everywhere.
It's been so much fun because
Do you know how many states you've spoken in?
last year I probably about 15 different states I went to.
That's a lot.
It'll be more this year.
Sorry, I'm derailing you, but okay.
Yeah, it's been
I love it.
so
I love
fun.
it. Yeah.
Yes. One of the most fun family code workshops I did was in Oregon. We actually had a Spanish translator. So we had families come in that didn't speak English. Some spoke English. The church that we were in sponsored it. So they got a babysitter for the littles.
That's neat.
And then they brought in food. And so then the parents and the older kids, age 7 and up, this is appropriate for. We all sat down and I took them through the 3 steps. And here's why we want to build a code. We want to talk about the brain. We want to protect it. And it gives the basis for having consistent conversations.
Yeah.
So we can talk to our kids about drugs and alcohol, but a lot of families I have seen in the research and anecdotally, they may do it once or twice. And they think, okay, I told my kid not to drink.
Yeah.
But then they get to high school and they're trying to figure out, okay, a lot of kids drink.
Yeah,
Other
it's getting more
families
real
let
now.
it. How do we handle this? What do we do? And it might be a bit too late at that period of time. And so I wanted to figure out, how can I get families to communicate more consistently?
Yeah.
And so right now I am working with a team out of Florida. We're working on an app to push out 6 conversations per year to parents with a short, easy script. So the family code gives you that. Like you create your family code, you put it on the wall.
Yeah.
You know, your kids drew a picture of your family on it.
Yeah.
And then you refer to it for those 6 conversations. And so it might sound like this. Hey, did you know that this week is National Smokeout Day week? Your kid may be like, Dad, what are you talking about?
What's that? Yeah.
And then you would simply say, well, this is the day when everybody tries to quit smoking. Do you know anybody who vapes? And if your 7-year-old's like, what's that? Then you're like, we'll talk about it next year. Check, done. Next year, same day. Hey, did you guys know it's National Smokeout Day? Oh, I remember you brought that up last year, Dad. Oh, yeah, I know what vaping is now. Then you get to find out from them what's going on
That's good.
in their world. And then you simply point to the code and say, well, in our family, we protect our brain and we don't do drugs.
Yeah.
So good job making that decision. Done. 10-minute conversation. And then let's say 3 months go by. Hey, kids, did you know it's National Eating Disorders Week? Do you know what anorexia is? And kids may be like, what are you talking about, Mom?
Yeah.
And you simply say, what about body image? Anything like that. If you ever feel weird about being in your body, let me know. And if you're not comfortable with me, we can find you somebody to talk to about that. Bam. I expect you to eat healthy, our family code. 3 more months comes, right? You keep this up, 10-minute conversations. So when I'm sitting with families and doing focus groups, a lot of families are like, oh, I could never do that. And I'm like, what? You could never have that conversation? And then they'll say, well, I could if I had a script. I'm like, okay.
So you're working on a script.
I'll get you a script. Right?
That's good. That's
yes,
great.
Because it's a scary conversation.
It is.
And they may not go to even though there's scripts in the NeuroWhereAbouts guide, it's a huge book, right?
Yeah.
So, finding what you need right at that moment, that's what I want to help parents do.
I love that, because I do think when we talk with families, the tension is, I don't want to share too much. I don't want to introduce them to something that they're not ready for. So how do you navigate? I like how you said, with the smoking conversation, oh, we'll come back to that next year.
Next
or
year,
we'll
right?
hold on
Yes,
that.
yes.
Is that the solution? Or how do you navigate, like, because when we talk about whether it's pornography, whether it's substance use, whether eating disorders, how do you approach the question of not sharing too much, but also making sure that, I say, you know, would you rather your child hear about it from a friend at school or from you? But how do you approach that?
Well, that's one of the ways. And then asking them, how did you learn about this stuff? And then they'll go, oh, yeah. They'll tell you where they learned about it if they remember.
I like that.
And so, you know, when I think about the two different levels.
Yeah.
So K through 2, in this series, we don't talk about drugs or alcohol or risky behavior. We just teach them what the brain is doing and the executive functioning skills.
Okay.
So like refusal skills, being able to say no, right? To be able to do that is a huge, we want them to start young and know when and how to say it. So the script is there. But then when we get to 3rd grade, by 3rd grade, so we're talking 7, 8 years old, kids are exposed to at least 7 different high-risk behaviors.
Believe it.
By 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
So we want them to feel empowered and know what to do. So as a parent, you are empowering your kid with skills to be able to protect their brain development.
Yeah. Just to echo the importance of that, I'm married. Alexa, my wife, is a former 2nd and then 3rd, then 2nd grade teacher. And you talk about...
I'm not quite sure how to...
Oh, I got it. I actually love that. I think we should leave that. That's if you missed that, that's the Amazon Alexa chiming in. My wife, Lex, we'll call her.
Okay.
That's what I call her. When she was teaching, the stories that I would hear, and we were in a public school in a pretty good area. Like, most of these kids had 2 parents involved, which, you know, that's a key predictor of success. And the things that they were seeing and encountering in the online trends and the gaming scenarios they were in, I was like, oh, they're like porn confident they've seen it. You know, violent content, check.
Already.
Alcohol, drugs, check. Like, you just go down the list and I'm like, that's 7 or 8. So these conversations are so important.
So important. But prior to that, teaching the basic skills of how to feel your feelings, of how to say no, of how to set boundaries, those are all the themes of the K through 2 version. And then in the 3 through 5, you get the same skills, but the topic changes. So that's when we start introducing the specific things, and it gives parents a really great segue to say, hey, have you seen this?
Yeah.
Which is illustrated in the book, maybe a kid trying to get another kid to vape or to bully another child. Because they're seeing, we know that bullying peaks in the 7th grade.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of years to inoculate and empower kids prior to that.
I like that. I've never heard inoculate used not in a vaccine form, but that's
exactly.
It works.
It works, right? They're so young when they're exposed to this.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's too late to give a vaccine after the fact, right?
Once they're sick, it's like,
exactly.
we missed our moment. Wow.
Yes.
The foundation of trust is so important. I like that. We, at Parent ProTech, in all of our series, we end them with conversation starters. Now, we're not as much focused on high-risk behaviors as we are on tech platforms and devices, but I think we're very aligned in the sense of if we can get parents and kids talking, that's a win for us. That's why we do it. That's very, very good. Now, a lot of parents talk about the issue of getting their kids to open up. And I remember from reading your book, from hearing you speak, the importance of listening more than you speak as a parent, asking open-ended questions. What's a word to a parent who's having trouble breaking through that shell?
Oh, well, I also want to validate parents because when we're scared, when parents are scared of something happening to their kids, that is a fear like no other they've ever felt before. So I hold that in high regard.
Yeah.
But a lot of times what happens is we start talking too much. We start lecturing. We start over-functioning, over-protecting. So that's when I think the 90-10 rule should come in, is you practice letting the kiddo talking 90% of the time while you talk 10% of the time.
Wow.
Which is so hard to do.
Yeah.
So using duct tape therapy is the key. It's literally imagining a piece of duct tape.
Fighting the urge.
Exactly. It's literally why I have a couple rolls of duct tape in my office. And it's so funny when I'll have families in here, the kid automatically gives it to their parent because they know who it's supposed to be for. Wow. Yes. Now, what happens though is when kids are in that gap, they are developing abstract reasoning skills.
Sure.
And so they're still using concrete reasoning, all or nothing, but they're also just in the very beginning stages of hypothetical thinking, like, well, what if this happened? And what if that happened? And that won't happen? And this one, right? And so a lot of times parents will hear irrational reasoning and want to correct it right away. One of the best things you can do as a parent is just parrot it.
Say that one more time. Parrot it?
Parrot it, yes. So if a kid says, oh my God, it's just a medicine, I'm not going to get addicted. Oh, it's just a medicine. You're not going to get addicted? Tell me more.
I'm writing that down. Parrot it.
Parrot it, right? You just
say it back.
Say it back with a question mark. Like, what do you mean? Tell me more. Because what a child is doing is they're putting a big power struggle worm in the water. I have a picture of one of those in the book.
Yeah.
I've shown it so many times to parents that they will say, oh my God. It's right about coming up there. There it is. That big green power struggle worm. I've had parents say, oh my God, I think of that when my child tries to hook me. Because when they start going through abstract reasoning development, they need you to argue back.
Yeah.
So they'll hook you. Well, it's not going to happen. Oh. And it sounds so irrational, but don't bite the power struggle worm because then you're the one on the hook and they're reeling you in. And then once your frontal lobe shuts off because you're pissed off and angry, you're just two immature frontal or limbic systems having an argument. And you're supposed to keep yours on.
Yeah.
Right? So
resist the urge.
It's so
Fight it.
hard. Yeah, I was working with a family this week whose kiddo, she went through COVID and she's developmentally immature. A couple years. COVID really hurt the development of a lot of social skills plus screen time.
Yeah.
And so she's dating people in a much older body, but psychologically, executive functional-wise, she's not really ready for that, so she's not making the best choices. And so what I recommend is to invite kids over. Like, if you're going to date my kiddo, we're going to all get to know each other and have a big dinner. And the dad is just like, like he's like a Texas father, like does not want to do that. But we've got to be able to teach that kiddo how to have good communication skills, how to have a relationship, and then you can set some scary boundaries if you're the dad sitting across the dinner table from whoever your daughter's dating. But by that time, they need to do a lot of brain-based praise for her executive functioning skills. While she
celebrate the wins.
Celebrate the wins, and while kids have plasticity, which is how flexible those dendrites, those neural pathways are. And they're most flexible between the ages of 12 and 25. Sorry, it's downhill for you from here.
I'm done.
At 27.
I have peaked in my neural pruning.
Well, there are two things that you've peaked in. Your plasticity.
Plasticity,
the plasticity is the level of flexibility. Now, you still have plasticity for the rest of your life. You can grow, but it takes longer. It's harder. And your processing speed, so how quickly you think, peaks at 25.
Dang.
I know, right? But if we keep practicing our skills, we will continue to strengthen those neural networks, and they'll still be there.
Yeah, it's not the most encouraging thing to hear, but
right.
That's good. That's excellent. The parrot it rule. I'm gonna quote that.
Okay.
That's really good, because I have vivid memories of even my mom and I, and we have very similar personalities, so I knew exactly how to push her buttons. And I vividly remember, there were times where she would say things, and I would say the thing, even if I didn't fully believe it, just to rile her up. And I remember those scenarios, and I'm like, man, she was so patient, so graceful. I'm like, yeah, as I think about having a child one day, that's a good thing to keep in mind. What about a lot of these principles, the code, they are good prep, a good foundation. What about in the moment? And the parrot it rule is valid for in the moment, but what about in the moment when a child is emotionally dysregulated, all over the place? What does brain-based parenting look like then?
Definitely not upping the ante.
That's good.
Which is what a lot of us do when a kiddo is angry. But
don't raise the stakes.
Don't raise the stakes.
Fight back.
Exactly. But being able to say, when you calm down, we can talk about this. And I'll give you a minute. Or I'm going to take a time out. This is uncomfortable for me.
Wow.
To be able to then, once they start breathing, calming down, then re-engage. So it's really classic operant behavioral principles, like where you don't want to reward the wrong behavior, right? So if you reward by paying attention, arguing back with argumentation, disrespectful behavior, dysregulated anger management, you're really rewarding it if you're paying attention to it. I always think about when I was getting trained as a brand new therapist, there was a woman teaching this technique called family systems strengthening.
Okay.
And she was teaching how to handle when kids are in a grocery store and they want something and they have a temper tantrum. That you don't abandon your kid, you just simply turn around and get still and show them your back. And then as soon as they stop talking or crying or whimpering, then you turn around and pay attention again. And if they start up again, you do it again. You just you keep doing that until, so you're rewarding the calm behavior. It is so not easy to do this.
Yeah.
Especially when you're embarrassed or if it's in public, right?
Sure.
But also, she taught me something else too. She said that, and remember, this was for parents who were very, very low income and couldn't afford, little things. She said that when your child wants something, don't rip it away and say, we can't afford that. Like a kid doesn't get that. But you simply say, I wish I could get that for you. Mommy wishes she could get that for you. Maybe next time we'll be able to do that. And this is what I teach parents to use with kids who want a cell phone. Way too early.
Yeah.
Because you guys know the recommendation, the Surgeon General's recommendation is that we don't give kids smartphones until high school and social media until 16. But we also know the world is not following that rule. That kids have phones much, much earlier. But to be able to say, I really wish I could give this to you. I know how bad you want it. I wish I could give it to you. But your brain is just not developed enough. And I have to protect your brain, especially if you won't, or if tech companies won't.
Yeah.
Now, that's not going to make kids happy.
No.
But it's a good answer.
It almost feels like you're an ally. It's like, oh man, I get it. Like I wish.
Yes.
But I can't.
But I can't.
So, okay, just as we're talking about the smartphone, how do you navigate the right age or the right time? I don't think there's a right age, but how do you navigate that conversation?
Sure.
Just briefly.
Right. Well, in the book, I have a little sign that a brain is holding up that says, a child should, earn a smartphone when their frontal lobe is smart enough to handle it smartly, respectfully, to be able, and that is executive functioning skills. So I love the Surgeon General's recommendation, and we have so many dumb phones out there now that you can start kids on, and then the parents have access. They can download games that they're
Yeah.
appropriate to do. And a kiddo that I was working with, you know, they were going to travel overseas for the summer, and she wants just a simple game to play. So I play this silly game called Brain Blow, and it's just these different little brain activities.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, dude, I want your game." And like, that's appropriate for, I think, like a 5th grader. So, you know, it's absolutely understandable to sit in an airport and want.
For sure.
Right? That's understandable. So we don't want to take kind of those opportunities away. But if your child is having a techno tantrum, right, if they won't give it when you ask for it, that means their frontal lobe is not developed enough to have it. It's a really good general rule.
Yeah.
And to be able to say, if you cannot pull your attention away long enough to stop playing or to go do whatever you've been asked to do, then that means that it's interfering with your ability to grow networks of neurons for attention.
Sure.
And so you're not ready for it.
And the term you use is techno tantrum?
Techno tantrum.
I like that. Okay, what if a parent, many I talk with, they say, my child plays Roblox, has this device, but they have techno tantrums. Okay, that's the gist of it. Whenever it's time to take it away, whenever it's time to eat dinner, whenever it's time to do something with a family, we're having a tantrum, it's a crisis. What do I do? So what about if a family's already given access, they're already in that tantrum mode every time the tech gets removed? What's your advice for them?
So that's your sugar pellet. That's your tool.
Yeah.
That's your tool. So you simply say, you can earn this by having no techno tantrum.
Yeah.
And so if they have a techno tantrum, they lose it for, let's say, 2 days, 4 days, right? You will see the techno tantrum go down. So that's what you use as a tool to shape the behavior that you want to see.
Yeah.
So the behavior you want to see is the behavior you want to reward. So being calm,
That's so good.
giving it over,
Yeah.
right? I asked you once, time to come eat. If it took you more than once for me to ask you to come eat, then you don't get to play for a week. However old the child is. So the younger,
good.
the less time, the older, the more time.
Okay.
But then you can always double it. So if a child had a techno tantrum, taking the tablet away, you say, you can only earn it with no techno tantrum. And so you had a techno tantrum, so you lost it for 2 days. So if you give it back after 2 days because they've earned it back, and then they have another techno tantrum, okay, this time 4 days.
Oh, raise the stakes.
So the cool part about that is they're not going to have a tablet for 4 days. So they have to figure out what else to do.
Yeah.
And so this is one of the things that concerns me the most, because when we use screens to deal with boredom, to deal with feeling sad, to give ourselves some quick form of entertainment, then guess what? We don't grow long networks of neurons for being bored, feeling sad, and entertaining ourselves with other healthier things. Right? So it's not just what's growing in our brain, it's what's not. So we need a balance. That's why I put the brain balance rule in the book, right?
Yeah.
If you're on a game for 1 hour, off and go do something else for 1 hour with your brain.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
right, yes, being bored. Sometimes I just like to try to practice being bored to see if I can do it, because it's hard today not to like pull or feeling awkward in a social situation, especially if you look and everybody's on a phone. To just sit there and stare makes you kind of feel like really weird and awkward. But I try really hard not to do that.
Yeah. 2 days ago, I was eating lunch, and I made it my challenge because my instinct was to keep working, to watch something, and I said, or to listen to a podcast, something, to walk. I always like to stay in motion, stay. I was like, no, I'm gonna sit here because of how front of mind this is, and it's hard. It's hard. I'm just gonna eat by myself without anything else. It's not easy. Is there any tips for parents even who might feel like, oh man, I'm having a hard time being bored or not filling my free time with?
Well, detox. And I took a mindful eating class years ago.
Wow.
And the idea is that you chew all of your food before you actually put your fork into another bite of food. That is so, because I'm eating like this on at my desk.
I eat for sport.
Right. Or not needing to have a phone, these little phones are dopamine delivery systems, right? And, but to just sit. And so I've got this beautiful window here, and sometimes I'll just close my computer and do mindful eating.
Wow, that's
And
good.
it is hard until it's not. Once you kind of give yourself to the moment, then you're okay.
Yeah.
So that's what, to me, real emotion regulation is being able to feel regulated internally, and not irritated, not uncomfortable, but just, okay, I'm just present with whatever it is that you're feeling.
It's a good challenge. I'm holding on to that. No, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to quote you. I'm going to use that because I think we could one fork at a time, chew it all up.
Yes, exactly.
Nothing else. Be present. I want to change lanes a bit and just briefly look at how much even the landscape has shifted over the past couple years. Oh, wow. We sat down 2 years ago in 2023. Now, when we talk about AI and these chatbots that kids are interacting with, we hear stats of the age of introduction to explicit content.
Yes.
Pornography is continuing to go down. And as you travel, as you're speaking with parents, I'm just curious, is there anything that you would say, oh, I see this as an issue, or I'm getting this question a lot more, or hearing about this that 2, 3, 4, 5, X number of years ago, I wasn't. Any thoughts there?
Oh, so many thoughts. And I just came back from DC where our Smart Families team went to the International Congress on Children and Screens. So I really feel like I have the latest information. And one of the statistics I heard was so disturbing is that 80,000 child pornography pieces of data are downloaded on the internet every day. Oh, this is disturbing.
Wow.
Something else that I thought was disturbing as well is the amount of kids who are creating AI friends.
Yeah.
And you probably heard in the news about the one child who hurt himself because his AI companion told him to. And it's the inappropriateness of an algorithm doing what an algorithm does. It just feeds you things. Like I just euthanized a cat I had for 18 years.
Sorry.
Thank you. But I couldn't believe how many things were coming into my Instagram feed about a pet losing a pet and grieving just from posting a picture of my sweet baby online. And I also wonder, if my Amazon system is hearing me talk about being sad. And so what I hear is that kids feel isolated and alone and don't know how to cope. And because they're not developing a lot of these skills when they should, then they go out into the world with what looks like very immature behavior, and they get called snowflakes, and they get forced to have somebody talk to them. And, the adults there's such a huge disconnect between these generations that a large group of kids are really not knowing how to cope. So they're going online for companionship.
To fill that gap.
It is. And I don't know if I shared this with you before. I don't think so, because it happened last year. I had a 19-year-old tell me that he definitely does not want to date or have sexual intercourse because he had, at that time, Pornhub was still legal in Texas. And he said, I've got Pornhub and DoorDash. I never need to leave my room. And I've heard that from more than a few kids of I don't want to drive. I don't want to date. I don't want to, my experience in my dorm room at college was terrible. I don't want to be around anybody. I just want to be alone with my screen. That breaks my heart. But that I'm seeing more and more and more. It reminds me of the Bruce Willis movie, Surrogate. Have you guys seen that movie? Oh my God. You have to watch that movie. It's probably 15 years old now.
Yeah.
And it's about living in the future where you have to buy an avatar that's actually a robot that goes out and lives the world for you while you plug in to what looks like this dental chair. But you plug in to a computer and if you have enough money, you can buy a really nice looking avatar with six-pack abs, good hair. And if you don't have enough money, it's kind of a shabby looking avatar. But I feel like, is that where we're going? We're just living our life through our AI bots
we were re-recording some content on ChatGPT about a month ago, and I was showing the voice feature, the conversational feature now, and and I call this one voice, or it's called like Vale or Val, so that's how I refer to it. And I was just going back and forth with it and just showing everything it could do, and I was laughing at how accurate it was. But then I also noticed it's saying a lot more. Like there's certain things that I'm like, it feels so human. I don't love it. But I can imagine if I'm a child, a teenager, I'm having a really hard time connecting at school. I'm not fitting in, not finding my people. Then I go online to this algorithmic based AI character that sees me, that wants to interact with me. Oh, it's heartbreaking, but at the same time I get it. And so it's like the challenge for all of us, how do we equip kids for that? How do we equip kids for that world? A lot of it's probably brain-based parenting. It probably is, like developing these executive functioning skills, being more aware. But it's hard to have a lot of hope, but I still hold on to hope. So
it is because I wonder about that 19-year-old. If all goes well in his life, he might create a family of his own. And how will he teach and parent his kiddo to have interactions and coping skills? Or will he?
Okay, well, as we're getting near the end, I want to talk about hope. It was about a year ago, last fall. I was at a presentation you gave at a Houston area school. And I remember afterwards, multiple students came up. And they talked about, I think the gist of it from one of them was, hey, I needed that. They were able to connect with a lot of what you had shared. And they talked about how like, oh, I wish my parents could hear this. And they left feeling very positive, uplifted. And I left that day just feeling very like, oh, cool. Like just feeling hopeful. Like, we got a shot. But I'm curious, as you're traveling, as you're talking with families, with students, what gives you hope? What are you seeing that on the positive side?
Oh, it's such a great question. I'm glad you brought that up too, because I'm hearing families realize how disconnected they are and want to try to figure out how to reconnect.
Wow.
So more family vacations, having cell phone baskets, getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Really delaying smartphone technology. And the good news too, I think that was a high school that we were at that day.
Yeah, it was.
And I'm hearing from high school students that are saying, yeah, this is not good for me. I'm having a really hard time putting it down. But that's important. Something's going on. Kids do not like to be manipulated. And once kids realize that they're true, actually, good point.
No, it's great though.
It is.
Exactly.
But when kids realize that their attention has a $sign on it, and what is being done to manipulate them to stay on it, and also realizing how flimsy and just it's not deep to have a relationship with an online robot or an AI bot,
chat bot,
right? Because it's really being fed what they're already thinking, but to learn how to have better relationships out there in the world. And so I'm hearing from kids that say, I'm really glad that our governor just declared no cell phones in public schools this year.
Wow.
I'm going to miss it, but I'm so happy because I study better. I talk to more people. I've got kids who have been so afraid to go to the bathroom if they don't have their phone. And now they're saying, oh my God, I'm going to have to learn how to walk the halls without my phone. Oh, I'm going to have to learn that.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully.
Maybe it's not that
maybe
bad.
It's not that bad. Yes, yes. Yeah, they don't need that as a crutch.
I'm with you. Even among people my age, a little older, the young families that are in our circle, I see people just a lot more aware. I think over the past decade, like when we got social media, if we rewind a couple decades and we got a lot of this immersive technology, it was so exciting, it was so new. And then I think the past decade and few years especially, it's like us becoming more aware of all the impacts that come with it and rethinking some of that. So I do see a lot of positive there as well.
Yeah.
As we come to the end, I would love to speed run a few quick questions and just to get quick 30-second to a minute answers.
I'll
Is
try
that okay?
Really hard to be brief.
I know you have so much knowledge up here, so I get it, but or maybe I don't get it, but I can imagine you have a lot to share. Okay, if you could write the parenting playbook for parenting in the digital age, where would you begin?
Oh, that's so hard.
And in many ways, you have written.
Exactly. Yes. Don't replace you with tech. So
Don't replace you.
Okay, really quick. I'll share
Please.
a piece of.
You can go above the time.
When I went to the Congress last week in DC, there are researchers that were looking at is reading a book to a child on a Kindle different, better, worse than reading with a real book.
Paper,
right? So I've been telling parents, well, at least they're reading if it's on a Kindle.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's what they found is that it is much worse to read on a Kindle. Much better to read with a book because kids need to touch. Things can pop out. The colors are bright and vibrant. They get to turn the page. They get to have this face-to-face, shoulder-to-shoulder interaction with you, holding the book, right? There are so many different senses and brain areas that happen.
Yeah.
And so don't replace you with tech.
That's really good. I love that. I like a physical book myself, so I love a good book. I'm a big bookshelf fan, so I think this bookshelf is the coolest I've seen.
Thank you.
What's your message to a parent who feels like they've already failed?
Oh, it's never too late. You can go down the wrong road for a long way, and it's never too late to turn around. It really never is. Now, your techno tantrums may be harder to deal with.
Yeah.
But if you learn what good behavior modification is and how to reward the right behavior, which is the calm, regulated behavior.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times if we put on our metaphorical white lab coat and think, okay, I have to train this kiddo, it helps take the personal out of it. But man, when we're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, stressed, when we have the halts. It's right. So take care of yourself first. And give yourself a break because you're going to make 1,000 different parenting mistakes. But as long as you apologize to your kid, then they get to learn how to apologize and repair ruptures. And you stay an intact parent that's working really hard to do the best that you can.
We're all doing our best, right? There's a lot of guidelines when it comes to screen time. I know the American Academy of Pediatrics, the APA. If you were talking to a parent of a newborn, at the high level, what's your guidance to them on introducing screen time?
No screens. No screens for 2 years old.
Yeah.
And so
zero until
zero. And if you even can, turn the TV off. Because interesting, 3 hours of TV, even in the background, reduces attention span by kids by a certain percentage. I don't have the study in front of me, but just even having a distraction in the background.
That's good.
It's right. So, but a lot of toys they can manipulate, right? So you can put a kiddo in a playpen so they're not running all over the place and fill it with all kinds of toys and go take a shower. You don't have to turn a screen on just so you can go take a shower.
Yeah, I like that. Our neighbors, quick story. We went to their house recently and they removed their TV from the family room and put it in a movie room upstairs. And in their living room, it is just like they read, they talk, and I'm like, wow, I love that. Made me want to get rid of our TV, but it's already there. So we're workshopping that one. But
Exactly. Yes.
Once we
you
have
do.
a newborn,
Yes.
I like that. I like
hope
that.
you guys do. I think that's the toughest thing for I see young parents to make today is the transition to, okay, now this is the most important person in our world.
Yeah.
And now we have to change our world for this person, which is hard because like I'm a latchkey kid. I turned on TV as soon as I got home from school and that was my babysitter for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I do the same thing as an adult today. It's the first thing I do is I turn on the TV. It's what I hear in the background.
Yeah.
That's not the healthiest thing for me, but it's what I'm used to and very addicted to.
Yeah.
So having to get rid of that and change my whole world and life, and kids are worth it. And once you do and detox,
Yeah.
yeah,
Gets easier.
it gets easier.
Gets
and
easier.
the connection's so good that, it's rewarding.
If you could sit down with every student and say one thing to them, what would you say?
Connect with eye contact and work on reducing emotion by having as many experiences as you can get. I think kids have experience deficits today.
Yeah.
We don't go out in the world and do things like we used to.
Yeah.
And because of those experience deficits, our anxiety grows. But how do we naturally reduce anxiety? We go out there, we feel it, and then we deal with it.
So go to the store. Go, figure out how to pump gas.
Exactly. Yes.
Go face the scary, awkward, uncomfortable thing, and you'll learn a lot from it. I love that. Okay, last question. I have so many. I could keep going for another hour, but thank you for all your time. The one thing that I would love to get very practical, if there is one brain-based parenting principle that a family could implement today, what would it be? Tonight.
So
I mean, we've talked about so many.
Right,
I'm like,
family
eat
code
family
is-
dinner,
yes.
make a family, like, maybe all of the above is the answer.
well, but if you say brain-based,
Okay.
then what I would want parents to do is to memorize the executive functioning skills. And there's not
they're
many.
thinking about them.
Exactly, right.
Okay.
So if you know which ones come up when, you'll be thinking about that. And when your child,
That's good.
right, engages in one of them, when they plan something out more than 2 steps ahead,
Yeah.
then you can realize, oh, their planning skills are getting bigger. And you can say, ooh, I like how you planned that, and reward it. But
That's
if you
good.
don't know what they are, you won't be able to literally, verbally remind or praise them. And
Yeah.
you won't even be able to cognitively be aware of them.
Yeah.
So that would be it, is
That's so good.
memorize your executive functioning skills and know when you see them in your kids' development.
And then you can praise them. Then you can encourage them.
And then long networks of neurons grow for them.
I love that. Such a good challenge to leave us with. Okay. How can an educator, a parent who's watching, how can they learn more about your work, get connected with you? I know you have knowyourneuro.org.
KnowYourNeuro.org is the place to go. I have links on the website for the series of kids books, for the parent book. As soon as the teen book comes out, that'll be there too.
Wonderful.
And they can reach out and book me to come speak at their school, or they could also reach me through Smart Families if they want to learn more about technology.
Good deal.
We're actually traveling to 140 schools this year who have signed up for the Smart Families
That's incredible.
workshops. And yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Well, Dr. Collier, like I said, I could keep going on asking you
You're right,
questions.
we could.
Thank you for your time,
so
for the
welcome.
work you're doing. I know just from the little bit that I've seen and the little bit that I hear, it's making an impact. I mean, parents are asking more questions, students are more aware. You're starting these conversations that are so essential and so impactful.
Wonderful.
So we're with you 100%. We're cheering you on, and we really appreciate you coming on the podcast
Oh,
today.
I'm so honored. Thanks for coming.